Welcome to Afterthoughts, everybody. This is our recommend or refute episode where we have each watched something different and we're bringing it to the podcast and telling you whether we would recommend or refute it. I am your host, Michael Dixon. With me, as always, John Garcia.
Hey, Dixon. I'm bringing something saucy, something spicy, something I think
you're
going to like in description. I don't know if you'd actually like it.
Saucy and spicy. Hey. Is it buffalo wings?
It might be.
Oh.
They're back here.
Good saucy buffalo wing.
Come back into the movie room. Ignore the Watchmen DVD.
Not falling for that again. And Ryan King. How's it going, Ryan?
Good. I am probably breaking rules again.
God damn it,
Ryan! I don't even want to know.
Your penance.
John, what did you watch this week? What are you bringing to the podcast?
I'm bringing. So Sasha and I got my shipment of Vinegar Syndrome in recently, and I haven't shelved it yet. And Sasha was just looking at it, sitting out on a table, and she was like, let's watch a movie tonight. Maybe not something streaming. We'll watch something, from your collection. You should use the movies that you buy. I said, I hear that. I understand what you're saying to me. Sure. And this one has been kind of on my radar. A friend of mine who runs a separate podcast called Sex in the Cinematory was like, hey, we should do an episode together at some point.
Sex
should be on
in
this
the
movie.
Cinematory?
Sex in the Cinema. Her name is Tori.
Ah, that makes more sense.
It's the Cinematory is a different room. Tori, if you're listening,
what is a cinematory?
You should consider calling your movie room the Cinematory. She runs that podcast about sex scenes and kind of sexuality in film, and explores and talks about that. And she was like, hey, we should do an episode at some point. I want to do it on this movie, Body of Evidence. I said, all right, I know nothing about it. And then lo and behold, Vinegar Syndrome sends me a 4K copy of Body of Evidence, which is a 1993 film directed by Uli Edel.
Was it a crime of passion?
Rebecca Carlson, you're under arrest for the murder of Andrew Marsh.
Or an act of deception?
Do you think I killed him?
Is she innocent of love?
They've taken something good and made it dirty.
Or guilty of murder? Is he her last hope?
She is not on trial for her sexual tastes.
Or the next victim?
Yes, it would be nice. You and I making up.
Body of Evidence. Rated R. Starts Friday, January 15th at theaters everywhere.
And it stars Willem Dafoe.
Hell yeah.
Julianne Moore and Madonna.
That's an interesting cast.
It is indeed. And I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. The premise of this movie is that Madonna is a vixen. Madonna is a temptress who has allegedly, in a court case, she's being charged with murder, and the murder is fucking a man to death.
Interesting.
Yes, it like cold opens with a man who has died in his bed watching a porno of him fucking Madonna. And then immediately just goes hard into this fucking case. Like
he was watching a porno of himself.
Yes, it was his own sex tape, and it's like a cold open for like CSI or some shit. And then they go right into a dude walking around the crime scene being like, well, how hard do you think she actually fucked him? And then like they're like, oh, it's just there's like cuff marks over here, sir, and my God, they've got a French tickler in the drawer, and like all this other, it's just like all this shit where they're just talking about the sex sequence. It really just feels like the movie was written to try to shock and sensationalize a lot of this. And it was like clearly at a time when Madonna is trying to break out into acting, and like, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to play, a femme fatale, kind of quiet and reserved woman who has BDSM desires. And it's not my fault that I had sex with this guy at such a magnificent amount of energy that it just caused his heart to fail. That's not at all my fault. But they're going to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that she did in fact fuck this man to death intentionally for $8 million, which is what's left of her in the will. So, it's like a rich man with a failed heart. Willem Dafoe is her defense attorney, who I don't think that they ever established that he's like the best or anything. They're just like, he just believes really hard in his clients that they wouldn't have fucked somebody if they would have fucked him for love, not for money, or to kill them in
at
some
maximum
way.
This has to be manslaughter, right? She couldn't have known.
That's what they're trying to
gonna
charge her
die.
with. That's what they're trying to charge her with. Is they're like, it's got to be manslaughter, but also for some reason the prosecutor's also like, nah, she's too hot. She definitely fucked him to death on purpose. It's a courtroom drama around the most absurd fucking premise. It's shot beautifully. It's so gorgeous. A lot of the cinematography has a very sensual aspect to it. There's flowing curtains in a lot of places, a lot of light and shadow, and they play with a lot of that. And Willem Dafoe's character, who's this like, it's not really a mousy, but he's like a very meek guy who really believes in all of his clients, and he's trying to pretend that, you know, hey, Madonna, I don't have this urge to engage in BDSM with you, even though, you know, there might be a part of me that's curious about it. So they like play that up, and Julianne Moore is his wife. And so there's a whole like, you know, triangle that happens and how it unfolds. It's a very steamy, very saucy story. I enjoyed the ride. And every time we were in the courtroom drama sequence, really well acted. Everything's great in it. But I kept thinking about how I told y'all guys that I watched that fucking terrible Sketch Artist movie. And it came out the exact same time that this came out, I think, like right around then. Oh. And I was like, that movie had such an absurd premise, and it failed at every juncture of trying to be compelling. This movie has an equally absurd premise, and it continues to succeed because at every step, people were like, well, why did you fuck him when he was taking nasal spray with cocaine in it? And Madonna's like, that wasn't cocaine. I buy roots that are ground up from like an herb shop, and they like counter it and have evidence and all this other shit. And you're like, what else? She must be innocent. And like, it plays that fucking divide. It's so dumb the way that it tries to goad you into thinking like Madonna's anything but guilty. But it does it in so many ways that are just like, this is fascinating. They made a whole fucking movie about it, and they shot it so well, and they got this cast that's pretty stacked to do all the scenes in a very serious and legitimate way. So yeah, Sasha and I were compelled. She was ignoring when I read the synopsis for it. She didn't listen. And then she said, yeah, sure. That's fine. Whatever. And when I put it on, she was like, what the fuck's this about again? Like the moment that it started, and I was like, it's too late. We're in it. We're going to watch where this goes. Yeah, it was a wild time. I would recommend this movie. It's, was really fun, was really dumb, but also I think it conjures a genre that doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist as much anymore. Like it's got that Basic Instinct kind of adjacent vibe to it, where they're trying to get like some kind of femme fatale into this, and will they, won't they, but also some noir touches, neo-noir style things to it. Willem Dafoe's character is kind of fucking dumb for all the things that he does and the decisions he makes, but that's kind of par for the course with a lot of noir detectives, I guess. They just sort of stumble into dumb shit and they don't know how to get out of it or what the fuck they're doing. But it's very passionate in the way that it's shot. And there's a lot of, I don't know, it got the atmosphere it was going for. I enjoyed it.
Interesting. Was Madonna married to this man that she fucked to death, or just she was written into his will because he was horny for her?
He was really fucking horny for her. She was not married to anybody. And they bring that up in the court case, obviously. They're like, you said he tried to marry you and you said no. And she's like, I just wanted it to be real when he actually wanted to propose to me. He shouldn't propose to me after I've just fucked his brains out. And
literally.
Like, yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't mean to admit that in court.
Her ass was the thing that pulled the gun, like the trigger in the gun. Shot his brains out right there. But yeah, it does. The only thing that I would say is kind of perplexing about it is there's sort of like it's that residual 90s air of like, believe her up until the end when it's like, nah, all women are fucking liars. Like it kind of has that vibe to it where you're like,
are you saying that she's found guilty?
I'm not saying it.
What kind of a jury is that? Jesus.
Yeah. There's a bunch of old men on that jury. I will say, if you do watch it, there's one old man who is hamming it the fuck up as an extra. Yeah. And like every announcement of every evidence, his eyes are like bulging and he's looking over at everybody else like, you guys seeing this shit? She fucked this man to death 7 ways to Sunday. Like,
I would love to see the 12 angry men of this. They're all debating about whether she could have fucked him to death. And,
just the jury room, and we saw none of the sexiness.
Yeah.
It's going to be very close to that Inside Amy Schumer thing that I showed you. Like, is she fuckable or not? Yeah, sure. Very entertaining.
How much is this like riding on the coattails of Basic Instinct?
When did Basic Instinct come out? Was it 90 or was it
92?
92? Yeah. Oh, very much.
So this feels like this
very
is
much on
100% like, hey, let's go make that.
This is exactly.
Let's fast track this one, get it out next summer.
They're like, come on, get some good actors in here. And I will, to their credit, like Julianne Moore's not in it for very long, but she does a phenomenal job.
She's great.
What she's given. Yeah. Willem Dafoe is the best part of all of this. Like Madonna does a good job, but I feel like Willem Dafoe really sells everything about his character's naivety and how kind of like mixed up he gets. He's just a stupid man. That's really what the crux of it is, and his journey through this stupid story of self-discovery where he's like trying to solve her case, but also discovering things about himself sexually. And I'm like, there's nothing ethical about the way you're doing this, Willem Dafoe. None of this is going to go well for you.
I'm used to seeing Dafoe play smart characters who usually know more than other people in the room. And it's interesting to hear, like, I can't picture him doing that kind of role. I'm sure he did a great job. Willem Dafoe is always great, but was it jarring to see him in a meek, like dumb role?
No, because some of the time he does present himself as very much an authority on her case. So like Madonna plays most of the movie very doe-eyed and ditzy, and like, I don't know what, I'm just, it's just my sexual preferences that they're putting on trial here. And there's kind of a commentary about that. And like, but Dafoe the entire time is like, well, you shouldn't have said it this way because now the prosecution's going to do this. And like, he's very strategic and aware of the courtroom strategies that are being used. And he very much aggressively bullies in the right direction certain things to win Madonna, like her little like victories here and there in the courtroom with the jury. And it's kind of like, okay, he's channeling a very masterful defense attorney who, the prosecutor and like numerous encounters with him is like, you're always saving fucking guilty people. I don't know why the fuck you do that. Like, why do you defend? It has that tone, like that Dirty Harry tone where like everybody that a defense attorney defends is actually guilty and fucking sucks as a person.
Yeah.
And, but he's like, no, I like honestly believe in them. I think that they, I don't question whether or not they did it. It's like, can we prove that they did or not? That's what I'm in pursuit of. And he adheres to a lot of that, but then when he gets his personal feelings mixed up, that's when he becomes a lot dumber as a character. He's like making stupid mistakes and being like way too instinctual about how he feels in the moment. And it's clearly fucking up with his like personal life and fucking up his professional life. And you see it kind of go all kinds of sideways towards the end and to this climactic reveal. So it's like really great. I enjoyed the ride. I'm not going to say that it's like super groundbreaking or that it does something that Basic Instinct didn't do. But I thoroughly found myself compelled from this as a cinematic experience. I was like, all right, I dig it. It's good.
How much is this pulling from Double Indemnity? It seems like there's a lot of similarities there about like murdering someone for the insurance money or the will money.
I mean, it's very similar. It's running a really close line to like infringing on a lot of what Double Indemnity is doing. And there's a period where it kind of crosses into that conspiracy of like, I'm going to help you out. Like, we're going to figure this out together kind of thing. Even if he does or doesn't know what's going on, he just is compelled in his passion for Madonna's character to like help her by any means necessary. So I would say it lifts heavily from that. The exception being, of course, Double Indemnity is not about a woman fucking a man to death. This is.
It's about her fucking him over to death.
Sure. That's also
They
a
couldn't
thing.
do that back then.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the implication if you read between the lines.
They have like a great reveal scene where one character is like testifying on the stand, and this isn't like a real big reveal for anybody out there who wants to watch this movie, but the guy's like, and then she said she was gonna fuck me like she's never fucked me before, and it's like really ominous in the courtroom, and everybody's like, did she know you had a heart condition? And he goes, she didn't care. Oh man, just a great delivery. Fucking great.
Wait, so there's a line of witnesses that are just people she's had sex with before?
Yes.
That they've just gone and found and are putting on the stand to like
Yeah.
talk about the violent tendencies she has in the bedroom.
They almost bring in the here it is, thousands of letters for Santa Claus sequence but for men that have fucking boned Madonna and have heart conditions.
She targets people with heart conditions.
Oh God, it's so great. But yeah, it's just like, it's got all the trappings of a courtroom drama. I'm just amazed that it's strung together by that simple premise of, we just got to prove this woman fucked a man to death. And they're like, her body is the weapon. Her body is the evidence.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Madonna is the body of evidence.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's exactly. That was like, they came really close to saying the title. I was like, damn, almost there. So yeah, it was a phenomenal watch. I enjoyed myself quite a bit. I was like, damn, I don't even know where this is in Madonna's career. Like, I know she also did another movie with Harvey Keitel, I want to say, that was, oh God.
Oh, Dangerous Game. That had Harvey Keitel.
Dangerous Game.
Is that what
Yes.
you're thinking
Dangerous
of?
Game.
Yes.
It was Dangerous Game. That's
Also
the one I was talking about.
1993.
Yes. So this is like,
Oh,
I don't know where this was in Madonna's,
it's
career.
easy to film two bad movies at the same time. It's hard to film two good movies together.
But I remember, I saw Dangerous Game and was like, oh, Madonna, she can like act, Abel Ferrara. Why not? But that was like the other, I don't know where if it's the same year. I guess Madonna was just really going through something and was like, I got to fucking do this. I'll play two characters that are like seductive vixens and this will put me on the map and then I'll get something else going. And, honestly, I enjoyed both of these movies quite a bit. Dangerous Game, I think I brought on the podcast at one point and talked about it.
I think you did.
Yeah. And so I feel like it's not so much a trend that like all Madonna's movies are going to be the best movies. But for me, I seem to enjoy whatever's going on in a movie that Madonna is in because the premise is ludicrous or there's an exploration of something else happening. And there's also other great actors around Madonna. So I'm like, all right, I'm now mildly curious. Like, what are the other degrees of separation between Madonna and another movie that I would like?
We are awaiting your review on Evita, I guess, then.
Yeah, I'll finish the Kotze trilogy and know why Madonna's in it.
I'm guessing that has to be like just random footage of a music video or something, right?
Gotta
Like,
be.
yeah.
It can't just be that Madonna's staring directly down the barrel of the camera for 5 minutes uninterrupted or something. Godfrey Reggio, what are you doing?
Madonna slowly falling over
God.
the course of 4 minutes. Yeah.
But yeah, there it is. Body of evidence. Her body is the evidence.
Okay.
That I would recommend this.
Amazing.
All right. Ryan, what kind of bullshit are you pulling here?
Okay. I want to talk about a cinematic experience that you get through playing a video game.
Oh.
What the fuck, Ryan? This is not a video game podcast.
Well,
He's
sometimes we
smuggling
talk
it in.
about. I'm like, sometimes we talk about TV, and then I'm like, yeah, sometimes I talk about other shit that's not movies. We have, as a group, collectively, sometimes like counted TV.
Don't you pull us into this.
I don't think video games count as television.
No.
They happen on television is what Ryan's argument is going to be.
My argument apparently is give me an inch, give me a mile.
Yeah, 6 months from now, Ryan's going to be like, so I'm reviewing a family slideshow I made
looking
from
out
our
the window.
vacation
Yeah.
that I put on my television and showed my neighbors. They left halfway through because they were bored, but I'm going to continue it here on the podcast, talking
Here's-
about all the pictures I took that you can't see.
Yeah. Now
It's an
we're going to talk about
experimental
the fridge
film.
drawing that my kids made for me.
My kid made a flip book. It counts. It moves.
Oh God!
You
All
just
right.
have to you put light behind it.
You rented out a movie theater to play Assassin 33 AD. What do you?
Oh man, that's. I'm gonna film my own movie of people watching Assassin 33 AD.
All right, tell us about your cinematic experience.
Okay. I want to talk about Clair Obscura Expedition 33, which came out last
Is there a colon
year.
in there?
Yes, Clair Obscur's Expedition 33.
There you go, Dixon.
Everybody just
You got
calls it
one thing.
Expedition 33 and forgets that first part because I have no idea what that has to do with anything either.
Clair Obscur's colonoscopy.
Yes.
Colon
I will only
expedition.
say Expedition 33 from here on out.
Okay.
I not having as much time for video games, but also just like wanting deeper, richer experiences. I pretty much play single player games that have like deeper storyline or like really good like gaming like specific or fundamentals. But I'm definitely I really like RPGs with like a deep storyline where you can get into the setting and the characters and all that. And
Ryan,
I chew
if it's
through them
not
over a long period of
Broforce,
time.
I really don't want to hear about it.
That's all you get into. Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah, Super
Mario
Smash
Mario
Bros.
Smash
Golf.
Brothers.
Mario
Okay.
Golf has great arcs in it. Character arcs, technically.
Literal arcs, yes.
The reason I do bring up Expedition 33 for this is that while the gaming like is adding some new things to the RPG to turn-based elements, really this is like in a time where every game is microtransactions and DLC and a bunch of bullshit to just try to get as much money away from you, and even the like AAA games that are more single player experiences, they don't feel like as fleshed out or they feel rushed or whatever. This is like absolutely a game that was like made out of love, that they spent a lot of time on kind of every part of it, that not just the gameplay, like the characters, the writing, the setting, the music, the voice acting, like it is from that standpoint of like as a good cinematic experience, it's more than just here's the story, right? There's so much more than just like telling a tale to making a good movie. I think it's the same thing about a video game, modern video games. It's more than just here's something you sit down and you play and you quote win. And this is absolutely something you get into and like feel the experience and follow the characters. And legitimately, I feel like one of the best like actual stories with like risks, elements, character growth, like revelations as you go through it that just unwrap more and more. And the more you kind of like explore within the world, you kind of learn about everything that's going on, and it really rewards that. It was just something that like I absolutely sunk time into because I just enjoyed it so much, and how it presents things that we just don't always see the lens for. So it's set in a like French. It has a French feel. I guess it's like sort of set in France. I don't know what you know about it, John.
Yeah, I know
Like-
a lot about it. I've played a little bit. I haven't beat it yet, but
So yeah, I guess it has like a French pastiche over the top of it. The like core plot that you set off, like, and here's what's crazy, and you can either hook that you enjoy this or not, but I guess at some point previous, like everything went to shit and the world is like fractured, like literally physically like fractured. And the Eiffel Tower, you can see like in the distance, like floating and like bent over. It's like melting or curled over. But there's this giant clock, for lack of a better word, like out in the distance. Every year it ticks down another number, and everyone who's that age dies. It like disappears. Like they just disappear.
Love the concept. Can we implement that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Logan's
yeah.
Run.
Yeah, pretty much. Logan's Run, except the number gets lower every year, so eventually there'll be no one. Like
Just
that's
orphans
what's
and then no
happening.
one.
Yeah, just orphans and then it's gone. And so this whole world is in this like just really sad state of this like constant ticking down, and they all like it gives you not just like a sense of immortality, but for some people, like specifically, if I live to July next year, that's it. Poof, I'm gone. Kind of the Logan's Run thing too, right? And so over time, they developed this set of expeditions where pretty much the people who are going to die the next year anyway just go off to try to fucking figure out what's going on and maybe stop this, like maybe save this world. And you're playing in a group of those characters who are the Expedition 33. The like number has ticked down. you actually at the beginning of the game watch their loved ones literally disappear from them while they're like holding their hands, and then you go out to try to find out what's going on.
Are these people 33 years old, or it's the 33rd expedition?
It's 33 years old.
33 years old. Yeah. It started at 99 and tick down, or 100 and tick down. Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
so longer than 33. And that it's also at that point, right, where it's getting really impending, and to the point that like people don't have kids anymore because those kids won't have parents, right? Like soon, and you have a lot of kids that are orphaned quickly and raised with other family members, and it is a really fucked up, sad setting. But it is interesting because it's like that's not a story I've heard or seen or what. Like it opens up a whole new interesting set of thoughts, and they thought about how this world would grow and adapt to that situation and what it would be like. And then the group goes out, and almost all of them are immediately murdered. This is like the first 5 minutes of this game, honestly.
There's like a Saving Private Ryan sequence.
Yeah,
There's also
absolutely.
like
They land on this beach, and they get massacred.
To it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you follow your small set of characters that you know for the rest of it. And constantly, everywhere you go in the world are dead previous expeditioners. Like, everywhere. Like, you're just constantly walking past other people's bodies. It really, like, you continue to just sit with this as the characters talk about all this stuff, and it constantly, like, weighs on you, the, like, mortality and the thinking about it, and just really presents it, like, in the forefront constantly. And the characters then also are, like, kind of continuously processing, like, their loss and what they're going through, but also trying to, like, push through the decision points eventually of, like, what impact can they have on what's happened and what, you know, all that. Just really beautiful and well written and fucking for adults of a type of game. Like, it is really, really impressive. And then, yeah, like at the end, I kind of was like, I guess I'm done. Like, and it even like at the ending, it's not something that just like resolves and everyone's happy, because it can't be. Like, it really presents this as like a real world, and you have to sit there and think about, like, where do these characters go? Like, what is it? Like, you think about the choices that they've made and what that means.
Yeah, I'm a little ways into it. I've made it partway through like a really difficult sequence where one of the characters is sort of lost or killed suddenly, and there's a lot that I've noticed about it. We'll talk about obviously you bring it up because of cinematic experience. I'll just talk a bit. One, this is made by an independent team versus like a big corporation. People, like, this isn't like, let's throw a ton of fucking money at it. They put their heart and soul into making.
Yeah, they made a studio, and this is the game that they've made, and they were banking on just this being successful. Yeah,
doesn't look like, it's not optimal like realism or photorealism in ways. It's gorgeous in the way that it looks, but I also noticed even cinematic wise, they try to play with like focal shifting between characters to show different emotion. They have dream sequences that draw heavily on, you know, characters, how they're experiencing their current emotions and feelings. It is one of the games recently, along with another game that's getting turned into an A24 movie, Death Stranding. This and Death Stranding both make me think about film's influence on games and like cinematic experience on games, but also how they feed back into each other. Like, there's sort of this, there can be a good sort of feedback cycle between a game can influence how you think about how a film can be made and vice versa. And this has that to it. There's a depth to the characters, and considering the story is about a bunch of 30-something-year-olds going off into the unknown to try to figure out what life is all about, there's a good undercurrent of like, hey, there's going to be a lot of things that aren't resolved for you, that I can feel just in the way that it's telling the story so far.
Yeah, I enjoyed Death Stranding, but and like I love like that insanity.
Yeah.
But I will say I was taken out of just like straight up looking at Guillermo del Toro and Elle Fanning.
That's the difference. Is Death Stranding is like,
I appreciate like that these are characters that are like thought and generated and all that, and I'm able to like be in it and be in the world, because every time I stop to talk to Elle Fanning. I was like, that's just Elle Fanning.
Margaret
Like,
Qualley
you can't just not see it.
Shows up in Death Stranding, and you're like, that's Margaret Qualley in a video game.
Exactly, straight up. Yep.
Sure, why not? I'm excited to hear what Dixon thinks when he sees the A24 film of Death Stranding. Because
dude,
is that still happening?
Supposedly, I don't remember who the director was for that, but I thought they had that on the books. It's the director of Pig. That's who it is.
Sarnowski? Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Sarnowski.
Oh, yeah.
He's slated to be the one who does it, which I would love to.
Is Nicolas Cage involved?
God, I hope so. I don't think so right
Yeah.
now. But they should.
I don't know.
They really should.
You could get him in there. You could make it work.
He's got to be somewhere in there.
You play the Elle Fanning character.
Yeah. And look for a trumpet.
Oh, my God.
So you broke our rules, Ryan. You're on trial now. But
How
it sounds like
dare you?
it sounds like you propose a just cause in doing so, as this is a piece of media and in a medium that's not part of the film genre or television, that has moved you via cinematic qualities and elements. So now you have to tell us, how many times did you cry? I'm just kidding. That's not what you're on trial for.
Yeah, maybe at the end it was in that. Yeah, there was getting there.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I cried at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great. I cry at the end of movies too, and the end of games. Why not?
Ryan turned into Metal Gear Liquid at the end.
He did.
How long is the game? I'm curious, as somebody who, like, I'm not a video game person. The video games that I do like are very simple. Like I made a joke about Broforce earlier. Like John and I have played that a lot, and that was a lot of fun. Like NFL Blitz, Mario Golf, games that are like very simple, Mario Kart, like that are easy. Like I don't really get into like super in-depth games, or at least I haven't since I was like in high school. And so I'm curious as to, like, for somebody like who isn't a video game person necessarily and like prefers more simple stuff, is this something that you would recommend to someone like me? Is this just for people who are like into video games that they would want to experience? How long is the process? Is it like watching an 8-hour movie, or is it like you're in this shit for 30-40 hours and it's like a whole thing?
Yeah, RPGs, it's kind of hard to measure like how long they are, because it somewhat is on you of how much you want to experience or be in it, but you are at minimum baked in for like a pretty good amount of time. They're usually like the least would be like a 20-hour kind of RPG.
Yeah. Okay.
I think maybe you could like rush through this in 20 hours. I was looking at my playtime. It says 83 hours.
Jesus
I think
Christ.
some of that was left. Like sometimes I paused it and walked away for a few hours, but I probably did put in a lot of hours like in it.
Ryan didn't sleep for
but that was
3.5 days.
That's right.
Yeah. That was also like, I was wanting to really engage with the gameplay as well and really explore that. Like, you don't have to. And a lot of games like this now, they have like
Story
all kinds of
mode,
settings that you can play with to just go through the story and not worry so much. Because this one has some like, it can have some really hard gameplay. Like they have the parry mechanic or like dodge mechanic is pretty important to it, but you can actually like straight up just make that work. Like, so you could hand this to like a kid and just be like, don't worry about it. And they can just push buttons like it and get through the story. I definitely like broke my characters to where I was like one-shotting everything at the end of the game, like it crazy.
But I know what you
amounts of
did
damage.
to do that, and it's not what Dixon would have done. Dixon would have put the controller down and walked away.
Yes, yeah. No, I had to collect like a whole bunch of different things to make it work.
Kills?
Give me full power.
It took work to get to that. Yeah, once you have it though, you could do whatever you want.
Is there infinite
I think
turbo?
maybe like I would also say like if you just go straight through the story and just hit the like main through line and do it in like maybe 20 hours, you are missing quite a lot, because there are like side stories and other things that like just continue to add to it, and like people that you talk to or things like that just continue to like give more flavor to it, that helps like get you more into the mindset. But I actually think, like, John, this is probably one that if you did just go straight through it, you would get a really good story and enjoy it. Like, I don't actually feel like you have to engage.
Sasha's actually invested and has been asking to play it again. We just have not sat down to do it, but
Yeah.
we were doing like couples nights to do it because she was like interested in where the characters were going to go and what was going to happen.
I would.
It's going to be a lot of couples nights.
A lot of couples nights.
83 hours.
83 hours
It's,
quality time.
It's roughly 40 couples nights.
I would actually say that I could explain this game.
Don't do it.
And I think that's another thing that maybe holds things back. Well, you mentioned Death Stranding.
Oh,
and
yeah. Death Stranding,
off the
I
top
can't
of my
explain.
head.
That's
I'm like, I
There's a
think
death and
I
it
kind of get
strands.
it in general. Yeah. And like even going to explain like Metal Gear, right? There's enough points in there where I'm like, I'm not exactly sure, but
Well,
I think this is what
I could explain Metal
think
Gear
there
to
were a bunch
Dixon.
of bacteria. There was one point where they talked about there were a bunch of bacteria on the floor of the Library of Congress that soaked up all the knowledge. Do you remember that? Yeah,
yeah.
that kind of shit. There's some things in here that are definitely fantasy elements, but they honestly like they fit and they make sense and they flow. It's never too far where you're like,
They're not this insanity.
I don't get it.
I
It's
think
too
that,
insane.
We could explain Metal Gear to Dixon because it's basically an Oliver Stone film, but you get to play your way through it and find out about
That's
the
true.
military-industrial complex and how far it's gone to manufacture private military corporations that do company-sponsored wars. It's pretty great.
Oh yeah,
it's a
that stuff's all
fantastic
great.
series.
Yeah, that stuff's great.
They talk about
Yeah, that's
nanomachines
the-
and all this other shit. It's fucking fantastic science fiction. And they have a bunch of
You
film
mean
references
reality?
to sure why not?
Documentary in video game form.
It's a documentary
Yeah.
in form. They even do handheld.
As
I
long-
think they did like handheld shaky cam for one of them, just to like give you that vibe to
Yeah,
it.
there's some of the as long as you don't pay attention to the like a person gets taken over because they graft an arm onto themselves and then they take
It's
on
its
that
own
other
thing.
person's identity. Yeah, don't pay
Also, the
attention
fact
to
that
that
the characters are named like Revolver Ocelot and whatever the fuck else.
Yeah, the fucking names are great.
Sure, why not Sniper Wolf? God,
Frankenstein McGee.
yeah.
You get a lot of that in Death Stranding. Has some great
There's
names.
a guy named Die Hard Man. He's hard to kill.
Yeah, Die Hard Man.
Or maybe he dies hard. I don't know. But yeah, this is one of those where like I was thinking about this recently because Sasha's been reading a few like different books and experiencing like kind of the joys of peeling back the time it takes you to sit and read a book and like enjoy the characters and being with them and how much longer. Because when you watch a film or like we've talked about with Watchmen, when you watch an adaptation, there's a lot that has to be cut out specifically for the runtime and for the audience's attention. And you have to form it into this linear narrative where you can't really bounce back and forth. And, you know, it's its own thing limited by the medium. But I was thinking about that and I was like, man, like books really give you a lot of time to sit, and games also now can give you a lot of time to sit with a character. And some games don't use it at all, but other games, like they really try to help you savor the interactions that the character has in different areas. And you can tell when a game is like passionately made when even on like a small offbeat kind of like side quest with somebody, that there's still like thoughtful cinematography in the cutscenes that happen with those characters, which is kind of wild because some games they just like put two random characters standing together and they look like NFL Blitz NPCs just standing after a game, and then they like do really basic ass 1-2 cuts and they don't try to focus on like
Can you do late hits?
You can do late hits sometimes. I've seen when you glitch out, sometimes you can run around
glitch through something,
fucking punch people. Yeah. But yeah, like you can tell who's like really investing thought into their game's cinematics and who loves film and loves the visual storytelling of their games. And so far, like for me, playing
The
Expedition
cutscenes in this are like, they're little movies. Yeah, I would say that like this, Death Stranding, the Metal Gear games, those are probably the closest you can get to like a movie. Like, and it's shot like a movie. It's like the music composition is part of the right of it and how they're thinking about it. The sound, like everything is all thought about from that. You're a viewer watching this experience, and the gaming kind of helps connect you to that. But like this game has some long cutscenes, but like Death Stranding or Metal Gear, there are times, I'm pretty certain in Metal Gear 4, there's a point where you sit down and have at least an hour and a half of cutscene.
Oh, I know.
Like you're
'cause I
playing the
fell
game
asleep
and then
during
you
that.
stop and you watch an hour and a half movie and then you get to play more of the game.
Yeah, I fell asleep when they were talking about whatever the fuck Cruise Chef did, and then I like woke up and I was in another part of an Oliver Stone film where they were talking about now the actions that Reagan took to do whatever. I was like, okay, sure, like fucking go for it.
Yeah. I think of that category. Like if you want a game where you're like, yeah, I want to sit down and I want to experience like a movie type of feel and that kind of stuff, I think that like the gaming aspects of Metal Gear or the game question mark that is Death Stranding, or something like Final Fantasy, like whatever, like they're a bit too action heavy oriented. Like you need to be like concentrating a lot on those mechanics. This game will let you, but you can also take it a lot easier. And because it's turn-based, it's like slow. You don't have to come into this like having like lightning fast reflex expectations or anything. You can kind of take it at a good pace and learn its mechanics and not ever feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, they have like a chess rhythm of like choosing what you're going to attack, and then you'll anticipate what your opponent does, and vice versa. And you can go through that pretty easy.
And then you just like start to set up those like, okay, this character does this thing, and it sets up this other character to do this thing, and then you just kind of put together your plan.
Yeah.
The only game that I've ever played that sounds somewhat similar to this was a PS3 game I played in like 2011 called Heavy Rain.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, I think we talked about that
speaking of
before.
cinematic experiences.
Is it sort of like, is that kind of like this?
No,
or
that's going to be different because that one
No,
had
that's
like the
another thing.
those interactive cutscenes where you had to press buttons to get through and
yeah.
do whatever. This
But
one
there
doesn't
wasn't
do
a
that.
lot of like doing things. It was mostly watching and then
Yeah.
you like made choices kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
don't
I
think
guess
this one
those
has
are
this-
cinematic experiences. Those games, those are bad cinematic experiences.
Those end up being pretty bad when you look back on them. Yeah, they
When I
like
was
give you-
20, I thought it was cool.
you know what? It looks
in a
cool
way,
and kind
yeah.
of is, but yeah, it ends up being not as great
Like,
as I would.
what was the Detroit
Detroit
Become
Become
Human? That
Human?
was the more
That was-
recent one, right? Yeah.
They had a
that one
they
pretty
had an
much is the
iRobot
same.
equivalent one.
Yeah, it's the same kind of shtick where you're kind of like going to thing and then making choices for the character to say and exploring the different. So like, yeah, that's probably the most like you could get a cinematic experience without having to like necessarily play a game. Those are all over the place though. Like that's what's tough is like, you can't
Quality of
recommend those
writing
because you're
and-
like, yeah, the quality of writing is like all over the place. So yeah, that's kind of what's tough. I feel like there are some games that do lean really heavily into literally being a movie that you're clicking through.
Yeah.
This is that striking the balance of like at its core, it's a game, but it's using that game to help explore these like themes and stories and characters.
Yeah. One last question for you on the themes. It sounds like it's trying to make a bold statement about either current modern, life or just kind of the idea of living in a world under threat of nuclear annihilation or pandemic or whatever the threat is there, global warming, et cetera. Is like, did you feel like it was a good encapsulation of, the human experience right now? Or like, what do you think it was kind of trying to say?
Yeah, I think the broadly what it's actually trying to get to is whether you choose to like confront and accept that mortality or like let yourself live in like delusions of it or of what the situation is. So yeah, I guess in the way that like, yeah, whether it's an impending disaster or your own like self mortality, like how do you confront that? Are you the kind of person that's like, I'm going to go towards it and try to solve things and live things? Am I going to run and just like, there's literally a character at it, John, you might have run into it if you talk to it. There's a guy that's like, if I stay in this trash can, I won't disappear when I turn 33. Like when you go and talk to him and he's like, I'm convinced that I think that it won't see me, so I'll be good and I'll be in this trash can. Later in the game, you find the note in the trash can. It's like, yeah, it didn't happen. Bye. He's disappearing and he writes the note. Right. So you are given those situations of like, what's reality and facing that reality. That is kind of a core piece of it. And then, yeah, the making the decisions and that impending thing, spending time with the people that you love, like all of those things all naturally kind of flow from that same core concept.
Yeah, what I first got when I was just to tack on here, what I first got from playing it so far, what I've played Dixon has been like the very beginning. There's a lot of, they're doing like this festival to celebrate the people who are about to die and be taken away by this anomaly. And there's a lot of people that are shaming the characters that you play for not having children and not caring enough to try to propagate whatever life is left in this tiny corner of the world, and other characters that are shaming you for going on the expedition to see what's out there because you're being careless and you should just stay here.
It's not going to matter.
Instead of, bury your head in the sand and just stay here and make what you will of your life that's left. Don't try to investigate and try to figure out if you can solve this or do the impossible. It's not going to happen for you. We don't believe in you. And so there's those meditations. And then when you get over to the other aspect of when you're in the expedition, then all of the anxieties crop up of losing the people that are nearest to you because so many people were kind of massacred in the beginning of that expedition that then it becomes like everybody's life is made infinitely more precious and they all suddenly realize that they could all die at any moment. And so decisions get made that are like, I'm trying to make this decision for you because I want to protect you. And it's like invalidating other people's agency and characters that are like, I don't give a shit about that. I want to do this because I think it's important to do it for me and what I believe in. And they have arguments and discussions and the characters fight about a lot of that. And sometimes characters don't even resolve the argument. They just get fucking murdered like before they're able to resolve that emotional conflict. Yeah. And it's like, those are like really heavy hitting moments that I've already kind of hit. And
as you talk to each character, they also each have an important like loss in their life that they're still dealing with the trauma of in different ways. You're also exploring that. Like one has lost her husband. One was really close to their parents and never got the chance to meet their expectations and is trying to deal with that, like leftover, like, should I, like, how, what is my purpose now? Or having lost her parents or whatever. Right. So they're all also dealing with this like whole of this loss. And whether to move on from that or how to resolve that. And so that's where I'm like, it hits on some like legit, deep, dark, internal things for it being like a quote game.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I've entertained this far too long. I have no more questions.
There you go.
Rest my case.
You yield your time, counselor.
I assume you're recommending this not movie.
Yeah, I did. I recommend it. That's right. This was definitely like, in my opinion, like the best game of last year, but it's really become, it's like one of my favorite games. Like it just was so good.
Strong statement from Ryan. We'll see when the Death Stranding A24 movie comes out.
Yeah, I don't. I will watch it out of just like, what could you possibly do? Make sense of this.
Dixon, what do you have for us?
Yeah. So I'm going to veer into cinephile nerd territory and talk about
everybody.
Federico Fellini. But I'm talking about a film of his that I think is a lot more approachable and, kind of more mass appeal. So not going to talk about 8.5 here, although I know the three of us have seen 8.5. And, it's a very... I think Fellini is thought of as this, intellectual cinema nerd director who, is like, normal people wouldn't go back and watch his stuff. But in preparation for an Italian vacation, I've been watching some Italian cinema, and I've cracked open my Essential Fellini box set, and I have watched the first 3 films in that set, which are the first 3 films that Fellini directed: Variety Lights, The White Sheik, and I Vitelloni. I Vitelloni is probably the best of the 3, but I think it's less interesting to talk about. It's very good. It's about kind of young male disillusionment, but there's a lot of movies about that, and we've talked about some of those, and it's good. If you like that kind of movie, it's definitely worth watching. I think The White Sheik is probably a little bit more fun to talk about, so I want to focus my energies there. This was Fellini's first solo directed film. Variety Lights 2 years earlier in 1950 he co-directed. This one, The White Sheik, in 1952 is his first solo directed film. It was actually written by Michelangelo Antonioni, who did La Ventura that I talked about in a recent Recommend or Refute. It was supposed to be his directorial debut, and then he got sick and couldn't do it, and then Fellini ended up directing it. But it's basically just a straight comedy, which is not what you would expect out of Fellini if you're not familiar with his work. But Fellini actually started out as a comic writer, like writing comic strips, and then slowly moved into film from there because he kind of knew people in the industry. He ended up working as an assistant director for Roberto Rossellini, and then started making his own films in the early 50s. And The White Sheik is a really fun comedy that I think is an interesting entry point into Fellini to kind of understand some of the themes that he makes films about, but not to feel like you're in film school watching an important film that you're supposed to watch. The White Sheik is about a young married couple, Ivan and Wanda, who arrive in Rome on their honeymoon. And they get to their hotel in the morning. They get off the train early morning, show up to the hotel, get checked in. Wanda the whole time is looking kind of nervous. And then they get checked into the hotel. She pulls the porter aside and she's like, "Hey, do you know where this street is?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's 10-minute walk down the road." And she gets really excited. Then they walk up to the room, and her husband Ivan is like, "So I have every minute of every day planned out while we're here. We're going to meet my aunt and uncle. We're going to go see the Pope because my uncle's a big shit and he's got us a meeting with the Pope, and we're going to do all these things. And every minute of our entire honeymoon is planned out from here. But first we have 2 hours of rest. Now we're going to take a nap." And then somebody from the hotel comes up and says, "Hey, we have a bathroom over here adjacent and we can give you a hot bath. We just need a half-hour notice." And she looks at Ivan very excited. And he's like, "Okay, fine. You can take a hot bath." Immediately, she flees the hotel and goes toward this street. And you're not really sure what's going on. And you kind of piece the story together as it happens, which I always appreciate a story that's built that way, that doesn't necessarily give you everything you need to know. You learn it as the movie progresses. She goes down to this building on this street, which is the head office of a weekly magazine that she is obsessed with. And apparently in Italy in the early 50s, it was very common in these magazines. There were these recurring articles that were stories that would build on each other, almost like a weekly comic. And instead of being illustrated, they would shoot real photography to illustrate what was going on in the story. And there was this recurring story that she really loved called The White Sheik. And it's, this adventure love story. And she goes to the office there and tries to talk to the model who plays the White Sheik in all the photos. And turns out she has had an amorous letter exchange with him, telling him how much she loves him. And he has said that if she ever finds herself in Rome, she should come by the offices and he'll show her a hell of a time. So she ends up accidentally being ushered onto a bus that takes her out 20 miles outside of Rome to the shooting location, where it's almost like a movie set where they're taking photographs for the weekly story, but there's costumes, there's producers, it's a whole big production. And she, ends up, meeting this guy and having the, roller coaster experience of meeting your heroes and being so asphyxiated by them and, inevitably disappointed and all of that. Meanwhile, her husband wakes up to the bathtub overflowing into his room. He's like, "What the fuck's going on? Where's my wife?" And immediately his aunt and uncle arrive and they're like, "All right, we're ready to go see the Pope. Where's your wife? We're happy to meet her." And the movie follows each character, the husband and wife, separately throughout their crazy day as they're going through these weird experiences, where the husband, Ivan, his day is almost like a silent comedy. He feels like a Chaplin character, almost kind of, trying to hide the fact that his wife has just run out on him and he doesn't know where she is. And he's found this incriminating love letter in the hotel room. And he's like, "Oh, fuck, did she leave me? I don't know what's going on." And he keeps trying to come up with excuses. "Oh, she's not feeling well. She's still in the room." Like, "Oh, well, let's go up there and say hi to her. I've got the perfect thing to get her feeling right as rain again." Like, "Oh, no." Trying to chase them down and pull them back downstairs and, go out and do all these events without her. "Well, can we reschedule the Pope till tomorrow?" "Oh, sure. Yeah, we'll just reschedule the Pope." And there's all these funny comedic events throughout, that eventually, wraps around to them kind of meeting up again, the husband and wife at the end, and trying to explain to each other what the fuck's been going on and all these things. And it's basically just a straight comedy, and it's hilarious. And it's really well written, really well directed, shot. It's not like a beautifully shot film, but it's just very engagingly shot, where you're in every scene and you're engaged with what's going on. The lead actor is really great in the role of Ivan, where he plays this, very overacting silent film type of character. Fellini would direct him to like, get your eyes as wide as you can for this scene. No, I need them wider. Like, be as shocked as you possibly can. But yeah, it's basically the series of misadventures around Rome and its surrounding areas. Kind of at the heart, it's about a married couple that maybe is a little bit too young to get married and maybe isn't mature enough to deal with that yet. She's still obsessed with some, matinee idol from a comic strip, and he is just very concerned about appearances and making sure that his family isn't shamed by the fact that his wife has run out on him, and that he's meeting all of these obligations and appearances and doesn't seem to care as much about the actual relationship as he is about what's going on around it. So I thought it was really interesting, very funny, but also has some insights into young marriage and how that goes for people that maybe get into things too soon. But yeah, I enjoyed The White Sheik a lot. Orson Welles says it's Fellini's best movie,
wow.
Which is a very hot take that most people don't view this as one of his better films and view it as kind of him kind of learning how to make movies and getting to the point where he became the master that he did later in his career. But I really enjoyed it and think it's worth checking out.
Now, how drunk was Orson Welles when he said that?
I assume Orson Welles is usually pretty damn drunk, but he's also pretty functioning generally, I think.
True, yeah. Except during commercial shoots and other things. He gets fucking tank.
The Italians have a director that makes movies.
It was a conversation with Peter Bogdanovich, and they became friends later in Wells's life when he was like doing wine ads. So I imagine he was pretty blasted,
very tanked on Parmesan's reserves. So is this, I can't remember, did you say, is this part of your, because you're doing an Italy trip soon, is this part of your continued,
my exploration of Italian
cinema? And how does this, I guess, not to make it a flat list of rankings, but where does this kind of, where do you find yourself on enjoyability and your current experience with Italian cinema?
Yeah, of the classic Italian films that I have seen, I think it's the most enjoyable that I have seen yet from a pure entertainment standpoint. I don't know that it's has the most artistic value of any of those films that
it sounds like it has a universality to it.
It does.
It's very relatable.
Definitely.
In the way that it happens.
Yeah, I would say that I Vitelloni and La Ventura are better films, but this is a very engaging movie that anybody can get behind and have a good time with.
Would you recommend this as like the first Fellini you watch, or do you think this would set you up for a different experience with the rest of Fellini?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, if you watch this and think that's what Fellini is, he's more than that. He does other things. He doesn't just make straight comedies. But I think 8.5 has a lot of comedic elements to it. So there's that core of him as a comic writer kind of comes through even later in his career or in the middle of his career. I'm not a Fellini expert. I've now only seen 4 of his films, including those 3 and 8.5. So there's a lot I have yet to learn.
It feels like a potentially good setup, though, because it sounds like it's approachable, right? Like this is a very approachable film. So yeah, it seems like you can go in, have a good time, and then as you watch other movies, see as he adapts into his own director instead of making a more like traditionally straightforward film.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. And you'll see things in it that he does later on down the line that, are his trademarks, but it's not him as a fully formed artist yet. He's still kind of figuring out what he wants to do, but it's a very well-made film. His first film, Variety Lights, is also very good. Probably not quite as interesting as The White Sheik, but it's also a good experience. A lot of his movies are about actors and acting troupes, and that one is about, kind of a vaudeville group, basically, that, following their experiences around. But yeah, I think the White Sheik is my favorite viewing experience of those three, and definitely seems to me like a good entry point into Fellini. Again, I have a long ways to go, but I had a very good time with it.
Well, having seen 8.5 and then shelved my Fellini collection, not for, not because I didn't like it, but because I was like, all right, I'm going to see what else is out there. This sounds like something that could help me break the ice again.
Yeah, I think you would really enjoy it. It's very relatable, and I think it's something that you would latch on to.
I'm curious. The next time that I have a date night with Sasha and she says I can pull something off the shelf, I think I might do White Sheik, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds interesting to me because 8.5 and I didn't quite gel.
Yeah,
it was good at putting me to sleep.
I really enjoyed
with the car.
I really enjoyed 8.5, but it's a much more fantastical experience and a more dreamlike, more insular into Fellini's own experiences. It's not super relatable. It's like what it's like to be a director. It's like most people don't care about that. Where the White Sheik is about young love and miscommunication and confusion and comedy and things that are a lot more universal.
Sounds like this might be a good double feature with my previous recommend, which was The Heartbreak Kid, the original. So they kind of have like opposites, sort of, where in this one you're having a woman who's not ready for marriage, who wants to chase and this guy who's obsessed with family values and how it looks. And then The Heartbreak Kid is about a man who's not ready for marriage, wanting to chase younger women, and his wife who like is ready to settle down and thought that he was ready for all of this. And so it could be a good peanut butter and chocolate situation.
Yeah.
From a film standpoint. I'm going to have to check this out and see how it stacks up.
All right. Yeah, I knew if I talked about Eva Deloney and the difficult nature of being a young man that's aimless with nothing to do, you guys wouldn't have been into it. So.
Yeah. I don't know anything about that. Any other questions, Ryan, for this?
No, I'm actually intrigued. I like the, we've watched a few. I actually like that like 40s and 50s like lighthearted early movie making movies. Like there's sort of like an earnestness and fun.
Is this a screwball?
It sounds a little bit in that.
It's a bit screwballish. Yeah. Okay. It feels more pulling from silent films than it is from screwball comedies, but there's some of that there as well, like the zany situations, and it's a bit screwball-y.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I also enjoy those things that are those movies that are in that transition phase. Yeah, right. Of like the like early silent films that haven't figured out what the fuck they're supposed to put on film. Or the early talkies that haven't figured out how to not be a silent film.
Right.
Right. And before they kind of hit their stride and doing something like, oh, wait, I could do more shit with the camera, or like we can get way more dynamic with this. And even now, like, right, there's still, still things that are breakthroughs or new ways of thinking. And it's interesting to go back and see before those, like how someone was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right, that has been our Recommend or Refute episode. We have a recommend from John for something.
Body of evidence.
Body of evidence.
A very fuckable recommendation for the body of evidence.
The Afterthoughts podcast does not recommend fucking someone to death.
That's right.
But if it's not intentional,
if it happens,
if it happens, it happens. But we don't recommend staging or premeditating fucking somebody to death.
Yeah.
I don't know how you premeditate it, but don't do it.
Yeah, don't do a Libya.
Oh, God.
But anyway, Ryan, we have a recommend for some video game.
Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Expedition 33.
It's very French. It's very depressing.
There
you have it, the French.
I am recommending The White Sheik by Federico Fellini. Thank you for joining us this evening. With me, as always,
Ryan King. I don't know how we made it through all of John's stuff without a Death from Snoo Snoo reference.
How has there not been, Death from Snoo Snoo?
Yeah, isn't that amazing that we didn't? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also, I don't know. You want to introduce me?
Say your name.
I'm John Garcia. Don't get fucked to death out there, people. It's fucking crazy in this world, apparently.
I have been your host, Michael Dixon, yet to be fucked to death. Thank you for putting up with our bullshit.
He was fucked to death, not but 2 weeks from now.
His remains were found on the side of the road. They could barely recognize him. He had to ID him from his dental records.
His last words were, "Good God, you're gonna fuck me to death."
But it was the if I have to go, this is how I want to go.
Yeah. Hey there, movie buffs, TV toughs, and all listeners in between. John here from the Afterthoughts podcast. I just wanted to drop in at the end of this episode and say thanks for listening. If you've got afterthoughts of your own to share, hit us up. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at The Afterpod, or jump into a conversation on our Discord server. You can find info for this and more at theafterpod.transistor.fm. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.